In the last 12 months, we've had a lot of great success of changing the landscape of the Canadian gaming industry, which we're thrilled about.
Here we are, Sigma Europe 2021, and I'm joined by Paul Burns, who is the President, CEO of the Canadian Gambling Association. Paul, thank you for being with me here now in Sigma Europe, but so far away from home as well.
It is, but it's my first time here in Malta, but I was wanting to come. I actually wanted to come last year, but unfortunately that didn't happen. So it's great to be here, and it's an exciting show. So I've had a great time.
Well, we're going to talk about the show a little bit later on, and of course I'm going to welcome you on behalf of Malta, your first time in Malta. Thank you for making the journey all the way across to be with us. June 2021, a big landmark for betting in Canada. Tell me what happened.
Well, we got legislation passed to permit betting on a single sporting event, and that was a big deal. Canada's had legal sports wagering for decades, but you couldn't bet on a single game, and it was clearly what sports bettors wanted. We had sports lottery products. Obviously, we've had a large offshore gray market in Canada that Canadians could use, but casino operators, gaming providers in Canada couldn't compete, couldn't offer the product. So it happened. It was great. We've been working on it for a better part of a decade. And so it's, you know what? It's just now gives consumers what they wanted. We had billions of dollars in handle going to illegal markets, going offshore, and it was clear that it was time to do it. That was our fourth attempt. But successful, thanks to...
Fourth attempt?
Yeah, it's our fourth piece of legislation we had before. They'd never made it before. So we were, the stars aligned. The inevitability, a little bit of help from what's going on in the United States didn't hurt because we, obviously so much influence from the United States, from media and sports. Sports betting growth in the United States really helped drive it here for us in Canada. So it was great.
Absolutely, and North America is really what people are talking about and have been talking about for the last 6 months because there's big things happening there. Tell me how, you talked about this fourth attempt to pass this legislation. What was the resistance? Why resistance to essentially is making everything safer for players?
Well, that's exactly what we talked about, and it was about that. And what we saw was we built a coalition of amateur sports bodies, communities, law enforcement, unions that represent employees that work in the gaming industry. We had a wide coalition of sport, but the last one we brought to the table were the professional sports leagues. And that was really, they never really opposed this in the past, but they weren't supportive. And so all of the last barriers were removed. There was nobody standing on the other side of this legislation. Literally nobody that spoke against it in any kind of fashion. It was all about, yes, we got to do it, and how can we do it right? And the provinces stepped up because they obviously have oversight over gaming, each province in the country, and they were very supportive. So there was nobody standing on the opposite side this time, and it finally clicked. The bill was, our parliament wasn't functioning normally during COVID. It was doing a more remote sittings, so bills weren't getting dealt with quickly. And then a year ago, they started to get back in person, started to get back to work, and it picked up pace and got done very quickly. So it was we were thrilled.
Well, now, of course, we've had this discussion, particularly over the last couple of days as well, because you're seeing regulation. There's been a lot of talk about regulation. As these new markets emerge, let's say the US, you mentioned the US because, of course, a big influence for Canada. Each of the states have their own regulation. They each have their own way of doing things. Does the same apply for Canada?
It does, and every province is on its own. And so what we're going to see everything a little bit different in each jurisdiction. In fact, this time last year, the Ontario government announced that they were going to create an open regulated market for online gaming and sports. That was a big move too, because and the way they're doing it is it's an open licensing market. Anybody's free to come and apply and offer their product in Ontario. Where so many other U.S. markets have been tethered, you must be tied to a casino license or something else. Ontario, it's an open licensing model. They've chosen to move forward. So in the last 12 months, we've had a lot of great success of changing the landscape of the Canadian gaming industry, which we're thrilled about because, at the beginning of COVID, it was very hard on the industry. Our casinos were closed for actually about 17 months in total at the end, but the industry now has a lot to look forward to. And so the Ontario online gaming market will open in early 22. And so there's a lot of interest. That's what I'm spending a lot of time talking to people here about. So it's been great. And so really great for consumers. That's really the best part in Canada, is they're going to get more choice. They're going to have more opportunity to look and see gaming offerings. So it's going to be really, I think, an excellent opportunity for consumers in Canada, what they're going to see next year.
So, of course, you just mentioned there the online gaming, and I was going to ask you about this because sports betting is one thing, and sports, from what I understand, in Canada is a big deal. And Canada does like its sports, it likes its sports betting, and I'm glad to see that is now gone on and been regulated on the online market. But online gaming as well doesn't necessarily have the best reputation, which is a real shame because regulation is all about protecting players. How are we going to see that evolve, and how is that going to be perceived and be more understood in the Canadian market?
Well, Canada's laws were uneven and not very clear. We call it a gray market in Canada because laws weren't really. Online gaming provided by offshore operators isn't illegal, but it wasn't legal either. To give you a confusing answer.
Yeah.
And so the gray market in Canada really filled a need that wasn't being provided through provincial lottery corporations in terms of offering wider variety of sports product or online casino product, and it grew to about $1 billion a year in gross gaming revenue. It was not insignificant size. So no, with creating the gray market being so large, about $1 billion in gross gaming revenue nationally, about 500 million of that coming out of Ontario. That's why the province of Ontario wanted to move to create a regulated marketplace, not only for obviously revenue for government. We also have a great technology sector in Ontario. PokerStars was founded in Ontario. A lot of companies came out of early players, the CryptoLogics and others came out of Canada. We were really pushing for the regulated marketplace. We knew it was the piece that was missing to not only let the industry thrive and let even some Canadian companies have gone on, relocated here and other places to come home, but to really unleash the potential of what's available. And for the consumers, it's going to be awesome. And that's really what we work from, is back from the consumer. How can we give them great choice, great opportunity as an industry, and a healthy competitive market is great. Everybody wins.
And putting consumer as king is always a great way to go. Putting the consumer first, protecting the consumer, but also being able to give them choice, and choice that they can trust.
That's exactly it. Healthy play is very important. We talk about that a lot, and we will with the new markets opening. We'll talk about gambling with licensed regulated operators, because that's really important to understand that there's a trust there. And so it's we'll see what happens in the rest of Canada, Ontario being the biggest jurisdiction, the 5th largest market in North America by population. So it's not insignificant on that front, but we think we're going to have a really competitive, vibrant market. We're looking for the rest of Canada. I think they want to see what Ontario is going to do. Are they going to get it right? Is the market going to thrive? And then maybe we'll see other jurisdictions in Canada follow suit. We hope they do, because it's good for everybody if we can do that and create more opportunity.
Absolutely. Well, I was going to ask you to look into your crystal ball and tell me what's happening in the next couple of years, but it sounds like that's the route that everything is going.
That's what we'll see. We need the Ontario market to start to mature and come to life, and that's going to take a few months for sure. And so other provinces will take their lead and look and see what Ontario's done. Has it worked for them? We have unique markets across countries, so everything's going to be what's best suited for their market, what's best suited for their jurisdiction, and we're going to be there to work with them on that.
Can I just ask, before we go any further, because you just mentioned that the markets are unique. We're talking about Canada. How are the markets differentiating between each other? Where are the differences in those marketplaces?
Well, you see, in terms of product offering, for one, or the availability or volume of casinos in the market. So you have Ontario, which is the largest province. There's 28 casino properties. We have a strong charitable gaming industry from bingo, and we also have there's a strong lottery sector in Canada. When you go west into Alberta, for example, there's 27 casinos in the province of Alberta. It's a third of the size of Ontario. The properties are a bit smaller. They have VLTs in terminals in licensed establishments. That doesn't occur in Ontario. They have a stronger, they use a charity licensing system for their casinos, so actually money goes to charities from some, goes to government. So everybody's taking a little different approach. Province of Saskatchewan is about to launch their first legal online offering through the First Nations of Saskatchewan, or partner with the government, and they will be operating the online sports betting and casino offering for the province. And they haven't had anything. And where a province of Alberta got their first, through their government agency, Alberta Gaming and Liquor Commission launched Play Alberta, their first online site this year. British Columbia next door has been in the online gaming space for over a decade. So everybody's done a little bit different and moved at a different pace. So the nuances of that, the volume of gaming product, the availability of gaming product differs from jurisdiction to jurisdiction. And that's why when they figure out how the online gaming can fit into that, I mean, the casinos in Ontario are thrilled because they can go online now. That's what they're looking forward to, is create that omni-channel experience for their customer. And I know casino operators in other parts of the country are looking for the same opportunities because they would like to be able to do the same. So it's just, the industry's evolving, and it's sometimes with government involvement, it's hard to keep pace. And that's what we're here to do as an association, is we keep advocating for the industry, try and keep things moving forward, because it's an innovative industry. We've seen a lot of new product, a lot of great technology on this gaming floor today, on show floor, and it continues to evolve. And so we try and create the dialogue between industry, regulators, and government to make sure that we can keep progressing and the customers keep winning, getting new products, new offerings, innovation, and they don't have to go elsewhere to try and find it.
So you said something just back then that I've heard so many times, particularly over the last couple of days, that the industry is moving so fast that it's almost impossible to keep up with it and make sure that you are at least up with the game, if not in front of the game. And of course, that's your goal. And I wish you all the very best with that. I mean, you mentioned right at the very beginning that you were here to meet people and to make those connections for the future. How has Sigma worked for you? How has it been?
Oh, it's been fantastic. I mean, I have some member companies who joined our association in the last 2 years I had never met. So it was great to be able to meet sometimes face to face, have some conversations. But also I saw the level of interest in talking to gaming operators, suppliers on how they can access the market. So that's why I wanted to come. That's why we went on conversation. I want to tell people about the Ontario market, the opportunities in Canada on sports betting. So I'm an advocate for our industry in Canada, and if I have to come to Malta, I'm happy to do that, to come and talk about it and get people interested.
Well, it's lovely to have you here, and I'm thrilled to hear that it is so exciting over in Canada and things are really starting to happen.
No, it is. It's a great time. Given what the industry, some of it's been through in the last year and a half, we've got great opportunity coming, and the next year or two are going to be quite exciting.
Well, I look forward to hearing more about that. I look forward to seeing you at the next Sigma and finding out the next great groundbreaking news that you have to share with us. Thank you so much for being with us, Paul.
Thank you for having me.